Hare Krishna. So welcome to today's reading. We'll be reading from Srila Prabhupada Lilamrta, and we are reading from New Jagannatha Puri. And we are reading from, continuing from yesterday. On the invitation of his disciples, Srila Prabhupada agreed to hold a kirtan on the beach. On a Tuesday night, with no kirtan or lecture scheduled in the temple, he got into the back seat of one of the devotees' cars. About a dozen initiated followers and a couple of dogs got into other cars, and together they traveled to the beach. Even the dogs got into the cars. When they arrived, some devotees went running across the beach, gathering driftwood and building a fire in the shelter of a sand dune. The late afternoon air was cool and there was a seaside wind. Prabhupada was dressed in a long checkered coat over a hooded sweatshirt. During the kirtan, he clapped and danced while the devotees joined hands, forming a circle around him. As the sun was setting, all the devotees faced the ocean, raising their arms and singing as loudly as they could, Hari Bol, with the surf pounding in on the coast and with the great expanse of windy air around them. Their kirtan sounded very small. So we have the beach and the wind on one side and the kirtan on the other side. Gathering around the fire, the devotees buried foil-wrapped potatoes and foil-wrapped apples filled with raisins and brown sugar under the coals. It was their idea, but Prabhupada was happy to comply with their ideas of California, kirtan and fun. So Srila Prabhupada is like, there's a big generation gap. The young boys are having these ideas that they're making a bonfire on the beach. Of course, they're having Harinam, but they want to have a bonfire. And what they did was they wrapped potatoes and apples and they filled it with raisins and brown sugar. So when the sugar melts, it tastes very nicely. This was their idea, but Prabhupada was happy to comply with their ideas. And this is California Kirtan fun. They're having fun in Kirtan. So this is the process. It is su sukham kartum avyayam. It's very joyful. You can have, this is a nice idea for Ekadashi also. You can wrap potatoes and apples and fill it with raisins and brown sugar and roast them. Haridas and Hayagriv had composed a song about the sage Narad Muni, and they sang it for Prabhupada. And this is the song they had written, and these are just young boys and girls, and they have written a poem. Do you know who is the first eternal spaceman of this universe? The first to send his wild, wild vibrations to all these cosmic superstations? For the song he always shouts, sends the planets flipping about. But I'll tell you before you think me loony, that I'm talking about Narad Muni, singing Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So very nice poem they have written. He's always shouting, he's always singing, and their transcendental vibration is making devotees all over the world. Prabhupada laughed. He liked anything that had chanting in it, and he asked them to compose more such songs for their countrymen. So Prabhupada encouraged them. He said, yes, you can compose such songs. Walking together along the beach, they came along an old dilapidated Dutch windmill. Mukunda, Prabhupada said, you should approach the government and tell them that we will restore this windmill if they let me build a temple on this site. Mukunda took it as a joke at first, but then he saw that Prabhupada was completely serious. Mukunda said he will inquire about it. Prabhupada, in his oversized checkered coat, buttoned up to his neck, was the beloved center of the devotees' outing. After their walk, he sat with them on a big log, eating baked potatoes smeared with melted butter, and when he finished, he threw his remnants to the dogs. So even Prabhupada had the baked potatoes, and on the baked potatoes they had put melted butter. They had melted butter, and then he gave Mahaprasadam to the dogs. As the night grew dark, stars appeared high over the ocean, and the devotees stood close around Prabhupada for a last kirtan. Then, just as in the temple, they bowed down, and Prabhupada called out the praise of the Lord and the disciplic succession. But he ended, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees. And Prabhupada said, all glories to the Pacific Ocean. Prabhupada said, all glories to the Pacific Ocean. Prabhupada considered the Pacific Ocean to be a devotee. It's an entity. They all laughed. All the devotees started laughing. Swamiji was doing what his devotees wanted, enjoying an evening kirtan cookout at the beach with them. And they were doing what he wanted, chanting Maha Mantra, becoming devotees of Krishna and becoming happy. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So this is the main reason why Prabhupada could make devotees. He understood that everybody has a propensity to enjoy. So everybody likes going to the beach, everybody likes to have a picnic on the beach, they like cooking on the beach. He says, Challo, let's go and cook on the beach. And Prabhupada ate what they cooked. And they were doing everything he wanted. What did Prabhupada want? For them to chant Maha Mantra and to become devotees of Krishna, and automatically they became happy. So these are some very important, pertinent points from today's Lilamrta, which is actually Amrit. Thank you so much for listening. Hare Krishna.